And there is a public version of this deck, which I will navigate all of you. So there's nothing called hidden. And so you will have access to this. And I'll try to share some online links as well. Yeah. Yep. Welcome. Shall we start now?
Yeah, sure. So
Okay. Once again, hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Those who are in the room, welcome once again. And people online also, thank you for joining. I am Ravi Kaushal Prasad. I'm a project manager, senior project manager, working with GitHub. And prior to GitHub, I was with Microsoft for many, many years. And when Wendy and I, many weeks back, when we were talking about, can you do a session on GitHub? I said, yes, I would love to talk. It'd be like a shameless plug, talking about GitHub and promoting GitHub. But then I realized that, okay, in a project management forum, what is the use of GitHub? Why we are going to talk about GitHub as a project manager? And I realized that it is really, really important to know about GitHub, and not just GitHub, any other open source developer platforms, so that you can talk to your team members efficiently in their language. So today's talk is more on GitHub and Git from a PM's point of view. So what key takeaways after this session you'll get? The first one is you'll get to know about Git and GitHub. Second, this will help you in your upcoming interviews if you are thinking, or maybe in your current role where you have developers or software team. But then you'll say, Ravi, I don't work in any IT industry. This is something which is useless for me. But believe me, every single industry nowadays is a software industry. Means if you talk about healthcare, manufacturing, to retail, to aerospace, to motor manufacturers, everyone, they have either their own software division or they have team doing development for them. So it is really important for all of us as a project manager to understand Git and GitHub, because it's actually a platform which makes developers to work. So that's the reason we're talking about this. And third key takeaway would be that I want all of you to have github.com login, not just for my benefit, for your benefit, and you'll be able to find out that why that login is going to help you apart from having LinkedIn and other social network profiles. Okay, so let's go to the agenda. So we'll talk about Git and GitHub. What do we mean by that? We'll also try to understand GitHub experience. And I'm very particular about when to say Git, when to say GitHub. So I'll try to kind of demystify that part. And then we'll try to do some hands-on. So I'll show you something. I know that most of us, we don't have laptop here. So I'll show us, what all thing we can do on Git and GitHub, and then open for Q&A. If you feel that there is something which you have as a question, you can park that question, maybe write it down. People online, you can just type it, and then I will answer them at the end of the session. Okay. So what is Git and GitHub? Any idea, anyone? Go ahead.
GitHub is the
GitHub?
GitHub.
But what is Git then?
I don't know about Git.
you get things.
Okay. You get things. Okay, that's so nice. Go ahead.
Is GitHub a language?
Not actually. Okay. Any other guess? Anyone? People online?
Linux, and it's a really functions outside of management source, but it doesn't really form a format. I guess it's a language, but it's a standard on how do you get things in and out of a repository.
Brilliant. Thank you, Dev. So let's understand this. Go back even prior to 2005 and think about developers writing programs. Uh, when they were doing, there were a bunch of developers working in a co-located place, trying to write code and then make it work, patch it next day, make it work. And then that's how the life was. Then they realized that it's a team and that the team can be distributed. It's not just one person. Everybody is sitting in a room or one group is sitting in a room and doing development. So they needed some sort of a version control. Because if you are writing something, let's say you're writing an article, and you're not the only one writing that article, many people are contributing towards that. If you don't have a proper version control, you don't know who has written what, and then that article will be totally messy. You don't have any track, you don't have any sort of history. So think in that terms. When developers started writing, they felt there is a need to have some sort of management there. So Linus Torvald, who's a founder of Linux, started using one software and realized that they are not at good terms and they needed something their own. So in 2005, he has created this software called Git. Now, Git's primary role is to do version controlling. So what do you mean by version control? Why you need a version control, Ravi, and why it is so important? So version control is like a timestamp. When you are writing an article, you need to timestamp it. And if you're writing if multiple people are writing one article, you need not just timestamps, you need layers of those timestamps so that you can understand who has written what, can you revert back to the previous line, similar to that code. So if you're writing in a group, you need a time machine. You need some sort of checkpoint. You need a way or ways to synchronize. And that's the reason we need Git. So if you walk out from this room and somebody asks, what do you mean by Git? It is actually a version control system or version control software. Okay, how it works. So you can get Git going through this URL, git-scm.com. Now, there are many ways you can access Git. Now, Git is an executable app, and you can get it and start using on your terminal. If you're using Mac machine, if you're on Windows, you just download Git Bash because it's Linux based, and you need to have a separate terminal. So you need an UI to talk to Git. Why? Because you have a code base and you need a versioning there. So that's the reason you need a mechanism to kind of talk to it. Okay, fair enough. I will get this installed on my machine, and then I'll start using it. What about my other team members? Do they have to also install those? The answer is yes. Everyone, they have to have their own version of Git in order to communicate. But then how everyone is going to work together? Your organization has to have a Git server so that you can talk to the same Git server and do this entire version control. Okay, fair enough. So you've talked about Git, Ravi. What do you mean by GitHub then? What is GitHub? Why is the hub word added? Any other guess, anyone?
It's for collaboration, to share the code.
Okay, can't we do that with Git? Let's say you have a Git server, Uma.
Yeah, I guess this is a more robust platform.
Okay, good. Good answer. I like it. It's partial, very, very partial. Okay. Again, good addition. So Destiny said that it is to integrate everything. Okay, good. What about you, Peter?
I thought it was the same. Right on the-
Okay, okay, good. And why I'm just trying to force us to think in that direction, because it is important to uh, think broadly. So after 2005, internet started becoming prominent thing. We had in-house Git servers in order to do version controlling. By the way, Git is still one of the most popular developer platform at this moment. We have more than 100 million developers using GitHub. We have more than 400 million repos right now exist on GitHub, and many large organizations, they use GitHub at this moment. So it's not as something small we are talking. So think about companies like, which company to give example? Think about, okay, I don't want to guess because it'll be a problem. And I will come back to these slides, but I wanted to show you this particular thing. Do you recall any of these companies, any company which you kind of been following closely, like Netflix, Slack, Spotify? All these companies, they use Git and partially maybe GitHub to manage their software.
Aditya says GitHub is a cloud-based system.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Aditya. So think about Netflix, and they are implementing all those softwares and trying to make their developers work. Their developers are spread across multiple geographies, not just one specific country. So sorry. So the challenge. Give me a second, people. Oops. Yeah, I need to. There should be an icon.
Closed caption. Right, my last- Top right.
The slide control.
Yeah, right, where's this slide 10 out of 36? Icons.
I don't see that. Which one are you talking? No, for audience.
Oh yeah, no, you've got just got to switch the presentation.
Okay, got it, got it. Okay, I have to move like this. Yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry, I was not seeing the same thing.
Yeah,
with-
yeah, you're
Okay. Okay. So I was just trying to tell us that Git alone is not was not sufficient, because even if you have a server of Git in your, it's like on-prem. What do you mean by on-prem? It's you have a server managing your softwares for your organization, and that was not sufficient. So Git, the company who floated this product, said that we need to go online. And in order to go online, you need a domain, you need a cloud product, and GitHub is nothing but a cloud product. So GitHub is primarily a single integrated enterprise-ready platform on cloud. Now, what exactly this means? This means that it has a capability of being a version control system, which means that it can manage all those versions. And you can revert back to previous versions, even versions which you feel that's good enough for you to kind of run your operating system or your software. So it has that capability, as well as it is on cloud, which means that from anywhere you can access Git. Now, you're not just confined within your organization's network to kind of access and do software management. You can operate from anywhere and use github.com and access your repositories from there. Now, it is not just only designed to do a version controlling and then managing softwares. It has many other layers of it. So let's go and check those. Any questions so far? Now, at least if you walk out, you say, I know what is Git. Level 100, the definition of it. You'll also know what is GitHub or github.com. And then how to get GitHub is go to github.com and you'll get it. In order to get a GitHub, it's very easy. You don't just need online machine, and you can go to github.com, create your login there, and start using it. So you're not tied to a local server to access and just do that. Any questions so far? Anyone? And I have made a note here. There are different ways to access Git. Some developers, they love terminal, which is like you go to your computer and type terminal, and then you have that black and white screen. You can type commands and then you'll be able to operate it. If you are like don't like it, there are other terminals available. In fact, there are a lot of UI, means user interface, graphical user interface, GUI versions or different applications available, which can give you a visual presentation of your Git. And then you'll be able to see how, all software versions are of your software, and you can kind of operate that.
I got a question for you.
Yeah, please go ahead.
On GitHub. So so I've got about a dozen employees that are part of a certain team supporting the government. They're all shifting over from legacy servers to GitHub. Is GitHub run, like, can you set up a tenant in GitHub for the government organization so that when your single login gets you onto your main page, are you a part of that tenant so where you can see everything that's happening on the team, or is it still individual?
Okay, that's actually a very good question. So when I was saying that GitHub is nothing but Git on cloud with additional features, it is actually on enterprise cloud, which means that we have our own data centers. We are not just borrowing even Microsoft's data centers, and it has all cloud features, which even Microsoft or Amazon provides. So which means that you can have your own private tenant exclusively for your organization, and many government, they're using GitHub. So is it, who asked this question? Sorry, Dan. Yeah, Dan, the answer to your question, yes, you can have an exclusive, secure tenant on GitHub cluster, which is exclusive to your organization. And then we have all possible authentication mechanism, which your organization can use and access repos. In other things. Yeah.
Thanks.
If you're interested, you can go to github.com. You will be able to find out certain articles on that on our blog site. But I'll forward you if you don't get it. Okay, so far all good. Any other question, anyone? So Ravi, you've talked about it's a single integrated enterprise ready platform. What exactly this means? Means you have developers writing code. The code is there in the cloud. You manage the versions of it. What else developers need? They need collaborative tools. And this is the place where project manager's role, comes and then becomes very critical. So as a project manager, you need to manage projects. And let's say your developers are writing code. They say that I don't want Ravi to follow any other tool, and don't ask me further updates. Why don't you check my work on GitHub? I said, okay, that's fair enough. How to do that? GitHub has its own collaborative platform called GitHub Project, which is similar to Microsoft Project, combination of Twilio or monday.com or whatnot. And it's there, everything in one. So developers are using issues, which is like work item, if you think about in Jira terms. And then you can kind of bring all different issues into different sprints. You can have different views, and GitHub project let you do that. I'll show you a couple of examples from my sample GitHub project. So GitHub gives you that opportunity to collaborate. You can create a wiki page there. You can have a website for your team, everything. So you don't have to go anywhere else to do those work, because developers primarily, they are like hesitant to use many other softwares. And then they hate going away from their tools. So GitHub is actually empowering us to go in that manner. And that's the reason we have those different collaborative tools. You can integrate Slack, you can integrate a lot of other tools, even calendars, so that you can kind of set up meeting just from GitHub issue if needed. It has one of the best security softwares or components, if I may say. And it's every layer of your development cycle. So when you say, okay, what do you mean by security? Security in terms of login, authenticating, authorizing certain things. And then also what code you're writing, is it secure enough? So I work with GitHub Advanced Security team. My team works primarily on a product called CodeQL, Code Query Language. Now, this is actually a tool, a beautiful software, which can read entire code and convert into a database. And with the help of this query language, you can query that database to understand vulnerabilities in your code. So we have security researchers work with us. They help customers to follow this code QL and write queries and find vulnerabilities. And when I say vulnerabilities, I'm talking about millions of vulnerabilities. In fact, with one customer, when we were doing with them, when we used our code, we found out almost 1.4 million vulnerabilities. Now think about, and I'm not just talking about a simple application, I'm talking about an application with thousands of lines of code, and that team is working for 10 plus years on that particular code. So why it is important to do that? If you don't check your code goes to production, and then there can be a security leak, and you lose tons of money as well as your credibility. That happened with Toyota last year. If you have heard about the news that Toyota's tokens were exposed to public for 5 years. So anyone, if any hacker or smart developer, if can try to fetch those tokens, can access to Toyota's system, and they could have done something bad. Thankfully, nothing happened, but their credibility was at stake. So we kind of support that. And the fourth pillar is GitHub is powered by AI. There are layers of AI is baked in, and then Copilot is the word you might have heard or might be hearing all the time, is actually from GitHub. So this is our overall GitHub experience. And any company who's doing software development, I'm sure either they have thought about GitHub, or they might be using some competitors like GitLab or Atlassian's product. But by far, GitHub is one of the biggest developer platform company. Okay. Now, what do I mean by powered by AI? Have any one of you used Copilot? Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
So it's really nice. You can pick up any, like I use Microsoft Studio.
Mhm.
Any language you can pick up, see, getting back.
Mhm.
I'm going to see you.
Mhm.
Anything that you think of, just have those millions of repositories, you can write any Python, Rust, anything you want. You can say, give me some really core utilities, and it will offer for you in seconds.
Mhm.
Actually, we'll write the code. You can type it.
People online are able to see my machine, my desktop, rather than presentation,
It is just
just the presentation
AI.
part of it.
Yeah.
Uh, nope. Just give me a second. Let me stop sharing. Okay, how about now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So going back to Dave's point, there are various layers of Copilot, which is our AI engine, is integrated in GitHub. So I am on github.com and I use my profile to log in. You'll see this icon, which is chat with Copilot. Now, this AI engine, I'm sure if you have either Facebook or WhatsApp or many other applications, they have come up with their own AI. So with the help of their AI, you can type better, you can do so many things. So they've been kind of following the same mechanism, is like they have large language models, LLMs. So every organization, they kind of create their own LLM and then create AI, and AI can kind of answer whatever you want. So it could be prompt-based answers, as Dave was mentioning. So we have different flavors of Copilot. One is chat with Copilot. So for example, if I say I need to chat and let's say, actually I should use different. This is my corporate version of my profile. Give me a second. Let me show you this version. Okay. I will use same, but it will be faster. Oops. Why it is not letting me? Let me try the other login. Okay. See how secure the system is. Where is my phone? So we have two-factor authentication. We also have other layers of authentication if you want, in order to secure your application. And hope you're not memorizing my authentication code. Even if you do that, it will expire in a few seconds.
Or it will kill you.
Okay, so this is my public profile,
You need to reshare.
and let me reshare it. Okay. Sorry. Okay. People online, are you able to see it?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm logged in, and I'm fortunate enough that I do have access of this Copilot. But I believe now it is available for public. So once you log in, once you have your GitHub profile, you can either chat with Copilot or you can use Copilot in your IDE, which is your application development tool. Either could be VS Code or anything, in order to make that Copilot as your pair programmer. What is pair programmer? Have you heard of this concept? Yeah.
Yeah. We're programming simultaneously.
The concept came, actually the one programmer is not sufficient enough to write good code. So in terms of game programming, extreme programming, companies used to devise this mechanism where they used to club two people together and do coding. It's called pair programming. And it did wonders in terms of extreme fast-paced programming, because two brains are working together and doing it. Now with Copilot, with AI, you can do it with AI. You don't need another human. You just need Copilot to come with you and then start coding and then helping you write better code. So Copilot has AI engine to chat. Copilot has another AI engine to write code together. And then there are other layers within your software tool where you're writing code. You can also chat while you are doing pair programming. So those are different flavors. And all these are kind of in the back end powered by ChatGPT. But GitHub has its own LLM, which we are using. So I just logged in, and let's say if I say one particular project I want to chat, and this is my favorite project, garage door project, how to change garage door without spending too much money. So I asked ChatGPT, in fact, and Copilot, how to do that. Can you convert this into a project? And it actually helped me, and I created a garage door project. So this project is what I was talking, that if I go here, it has all different aspects of that project. I'm not sure why it is not loading, but I have this project. Let's see. It is taking time, but I'll show you how this project would look like. So I ask questions about phases which I should use in order to change my garage doors. And Copilot gave me all possible options, different phases that I should do. Then I asked that how many time each phase would take, and it also gave me recommendations. So with that help, I created a project board and everything on GitHub. There's nothing I need to do outside. I don't have to have a spreadsheet. I don't have to have a Word document. Everything I can do here on GitHub. That's the beauty of this single integrated platform. So, so powered by AI means we have these different flavors of Copilot baked in GitHub, which your developer team or your team and you as a project manager can use it. Now the question back to me, Ravi, how often you use Copilot in your day-to-day work? Do you want to guess how much, what percentage of my 40 hours per week I take help from? Really? Fair guess. 90 is too much. Then I think then my company will say, we don't need Ravi. Isn't it? Yeah. I don't want my team or my manager to think that, okay, I use 90% of it. I would say it's still 20%. People on phone, would you like to guess, though I have given my answer?
All the time.
Thank you, Aditya. I think we'll talk separately. What do you mean by all the time? Yeah. But yeah, I do use ChatGPT, Copilot for various different activities. Sometimes where I spend most is when I'm kind of trying to talk to my engineers. And then so out of 6, 3 of them are PhDs. So they are true security researchers. They've been working in, again, they are not able to see
Yeah,
this
it's
screen.
fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay. Yeah, that's a sad part. I'm not able to share my entire desktop. So I have to just, so when I talk to these security researchers, I need to be prepared. I cannot go, without doing my homework and saying, oh, can you just tell me how much time will this analysis take? And then when you heard me that I'm talking about millions of vulnerabilities those softwares are spitting. Now, are we going to fix all of those? The answer is no, not at all. So how actually we tackle it? We have a mechanism to kind of mine that amount of vulnerabilities and convert it into FPs and FNs. Now, false positives and false negatives. Now, what exactly that means not all vulnerabilities can be the true problem for you. There will be only handful set of things which can be a big problem for your organization. But it is really important to identify those critical ones. So when you run this tool, which we have, and then you run query, then you need researcher to kind of understand, categorize, and try to find out which one can be the critical ones and which category can be just the false positive, because there are various different ways. You have to kind of slice and dice and try to find out. So when my developers are doing those things, I need to be prepared. And that's the place where I kind of go ask Copilot a lot of questions. Every day I do that. So I use ChatGPT, I go to Copilot, I kind of look at my repo, and in my repo, so in my code base, I go, I pick one repo. So I think it has some single sign-on problem. So I pick my code base, that which code base I need to kind of filter. So see here, these are different repos which I have. For example, I will say, okay, I need to pick this, and then I have to ask relevant questions related to that particular repo. Similar to that, I go to my VS Code editor, and I have a Copilot created. Copilot chat is also here, and I can chat and I can ask question that if, for example, we are dealing with different languages like C, C++, Python, and many more. So I ask some basic questions so that I am aware. Now, these things wasn't possible before Copilot. Was that possible to do? Have you ever done these things before Copilot era, before ChatGPT era? What you used to do? Google it. And half of the time, Google search was like not that helpful. I don't want to call useless. in a technical terms, sometimes it's very difficult, because then you have to go through a lot of documents in order to find out something relevant so that you can talk. It's simple search is still very good. You all use Google or Bing, but Copilot is good if you really have a very comprehensive set of statements. Type it, frame it, and break it into different structures and ask Copilot. It will be able to answer you very, very well. In fact, I'm doing a course in cybersecurity, and I do ask ChatGPT a question all the time about my, so I'll show you what recently I've done. So let's say I'm talking about shared crypto securities. Now, see, I have, okay, sorry. Okay, going back here. Oops. So I read my training material. I try to kind of find out, what exactly I need to answer or prepare for my assignments. And I try to phrase those questions. And then see, I asked this question after framing it multiple times, and I asked that define the role of public cryptography in password manager system. So this is my project, which I'm doing while doing this cybersecurity course. And I asked this simple question, but it took some time for me to understand how I'm going to phrase this question after repetitive set of back and forth with ChatGPT. And once I framed this question, see how well ChatGPT has articulated me the answer. It says that, for any password managers or kind of software, you need a secure communication, authentication, encryption, whatnot. So what I'm trying to say is that my 20% can be 30%, but I never want to go and say, hey, half of my job I'm doing with the help of ChatGPT. My manager said, okay, do you want to share your salary also, 50% of it? Or because in developer world, there's a big cry happening that is AI going to take our job? My take is no. But then there are different speculations by different companies, and then they have their own ways of thinking. Some they think that it is better to bring AI, buy that subscription, and remove developers. In fact, there was one CEO who recently fired a good amount of developers in his organization and later realized that he did a blunder and he apologized publicly. It was on news last week. So I don't think that we need to eliminate people, not just developers, because AI is here, but that's something which is still debatable.
Adita says sometimes we've used Stack Overflow.
Yes, yes. So this shows that you've been programming for a while, Aditya. You're a bit old programmer. I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. Like me. So Stack Overflow after google.com.
Information. That was me.
If you're a visual person, yes, YouTube helps. But the problem with YouTube is that it is tons of crap. You have to go hours of content
Yeah.
before you find out your right answer. And then the distraction is so immense. You're searching ABC, but you end up doing XYZ on YouTube. Absolutely. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm.
So I'm just curious to learn if there's any sort of like ethics review or when it comes to like responsible AI.
So your question is that do we do any sort of ethics review? So in our space, when we are kind of mining security vulnerabilities, we don't have to deal with any of those things. But every organization who is saying that they are AI powered, they have this ethical division. They have to have this similar to accessibility, because that's the biggest question right now with AI. Now, you think about AI can create any movie. AI, if you just run AI, what people are saying, and I've read many articles on this, that Netflix is capable of producing movies with the help of AI in, if not minutes, in hours, what people want. They can create imaginary human being, storyline, and they can produce movies without even intervention of many people. Because we have watched so much content there. Netflix knows everybody's kind of taste, the way we want, what kind of movies we want, what kind of endings we want, or beginning we want. So what they are saying is that we don't need script writers. We don't need entire movie production houses. So this is the place where ethics comes into play. We are producing these things for humans, isn't it? So AI can do work, but it should not take control of it. So going back to your question, every organization, they have a set of lawyers, set of people looking the ethical aspect of it. There were a lot of questions even for Copilot, even Microsoft is dealing also with that. So that team is there, but we are just consumers and we are doing some sort of vulnerability analysis. So we don't deal with that aspect. But anything which is going public facing, yes, it should be vetted through those set of people. Yeah.
It's pretty, I have to do a tooling for content, and I have to decommission software because it's not up to stuff with our IT right now because of all this artificial intelligence. And our IT has standards right now because of all that, and we have to have our standards up because we're a financial company, software company, and we're decommissioning a lot of software right now because of the AI standards in IT. It's just really hard on us right now with our software that we have. And we're going with all the software that is up to standards. So it's a big thing right now with ethics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Yes. Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
And also in terms of data set, that what data set you wanted to kind of pull. And as I think there was a question that can we have a separate tenant and then we can do everything exclusively there and it is secured enough? The answer is yes, we can do that. So the biggest challenge with these large language models are that can everything be in public domain? The answer is no, but then there's a partial answer that the no is partial because everything is in public domain. If you have enough power or a good machine, you can kind of create your own large language model and start interpreting human behavior and pattern. You can do something bad to society. So there is ethical aspect which is still going on, and then the biases AI has, which is still questionable and in discussion. But the work which we are doing, we are not we are acknowledging that aspect, but we are not dealing with it. One quick example, like this is the way you can kind of do pair programming. You can use GitHub Copilot, and then while you're writing code, and what Copilot would do, the moment you write this definition of that function, Copilot will give you the entire code, so you don't have to write the code. Earlier, in our era, the way Aditya was saying, we used to go to Stack Overflow or some other google.com and search results and then type it back to the IDE. Okay, so we are almost 75% through. Is it good? Any question? Is it boring or really tiring? But we know Git and GitHub, Ravi, which is sufficient. Tata, bye-bye. So can you promise me that if you go back, you will go to github.com and create your profile? But the question is that what the heck you're going to do with that? So let's see what can we do when we go back and try to find out. So first thing is, along with your LinkedIn, you can say you have a github.com login, which can help you in resume building. That's the first thing. Okay, sorry. Safari, see it. Do you see Safari? This one here. Sorry, I'll just. So this is my very rough profile. And then you say, Ravi, I'm not a programmer. Why the heck I need a github.com thing? Which is very true. But let's say you are a content manager, and Wendy and we were talking 2-3 weeks back, and Wendy said that, do I need a github.com login? I said, yes, you should have. And then we started looking for various articles, and we found many articles on github.com related to content management, related to creation of playbook. So it's like a world's public open source repository. So you don't have to just go and write code and put it on github.com. You can do tons of other things. For example, let's say you wanted to find out Agile project management documents. And okay. I don't need to search. Okay, hold on. Let me switch my profile. I don't need to search internal things. Where is the, sorry about that. Is there a way to switch profile? It should be easy. Okay, so right now I'm confined, but let me see if I can search. Let's see. It's actually forcing me to go back to my corporate login. But if you do it right now, you'll be able to find out that you'll get tons of content publicly available. I have some login issues, so sorry about that. So my personal ID is tied to my a work ID, and sometimes it does these kind of goofy things. See, it has found some public. Okay, let's look at the public one. So let's find out some repos.
It got to your
Yeah. Yeah. Could be. Okay. So see, I find some information, maybe there's some goofy thing is happening. But if you search, you'll find out a lot of public information, and GitHub is open source. That's the beauty of it. Then it's also as a inner source option. What is inner source? Like you wanted to kind of confine within your organization. It is inner source. Within your organization, you can have a boundary created, secure enough, and your developers can search within that. So that's second benefit if you have a github.com login. And then you can create projects. So let's say you wanted to have github.com, and you wanted to kind of manage your projects. You can have many projects. So see, this is what I was trying to show. And see, this is with the help of Copilot, I was able to create a garage door replacement project. I've created backlog items, that what all things I have to do. I've created user stories that, how to kind of start from door preparation to installation and whatnot. So it can produce something like this, which is like a project board. It can be Kanban. It can be, many more different views. It has different charts. And also you can pull reports straight away from this dashboard. You can do that. Yeah, go ahead, Asma. Okay, so your question is, I talked about 2-3 different AI tools. Which one to use first, or is this the good way to rephrase it? So Chat GPT is actually a search engine. If you read about it, or if you've read about it, it is supported by Microsoft, means funded by Microsoft. A good chunk of fund was given to them, and there's a public version of it, which means that you can have Chat GPT login, and you can ask questions, and those are based on prompt engineering. You can have your own prompt created and then ask questions, and it is an AI engine. It will give you answer. It's similar to the search engine, yes. If you look at Copilot, and ChatGPT has a public LLM, which is a large language model, which is being used. So it's a public version, and then it gives you answer based on that. Copilot, on the other hand, is specific to GitHub. The base is actually ChatGPT engine, but it is confined within github.com. And if you're trying to search within github.com or within your repo, you have to use Copilot for chat. Now, Copilot has a different flavors within GitHub. You can use as a chat engine, you can use as a pair programmer, or you can also use while you're writing code and asking somebody a question, ChatGPT, Copilot can help you do that. All these are based on ChatGPT engine. Now, there are other, I'll come back to you, Dave. There are other AI engines available by other providers. Meta has their own. I just forgot their name. Google has Bard. That's the name which they use it. Amazon also came up with some other AI engine, which I believe is not working that well. I was thinking about other. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
integrate that wherever you are, bringing that workflow into you rather than having it pop up.
Yeah, absolutely right. And you just think about these as a separate search engines. Mostly google.com or bing.com search engine results are almost same. It's our preference how we use it. And let's say you are very familiar with ChatGPT using it, but then you have to copy paste that to your IDE if you're writing a code. But if you're using Copilot as a pair programmer, it will type it for you. It will ask you that, do you want to use this code module which I have provided you, or do you want to type your own? So these are the different ways to kind of consume AI. Okay, hope I answered. Okay, I'm going to the last slide, but I was asking this question that, yeah, go ahead.
And does GitHub allow any sort of administrative rights to defense and dev or set up role-based access to code repositories?
Yes. So security, so GitHub has a layers of securities. One is like you have multi-factor authentication. You saw me. I use my fingerprint to log in to my corporate information. So that's when I authenticate, then I have authorization. And you're talking about even resources within that repo can be given to different people based on RBAC. So the answer is yes, you can do that. There is a layers of security available for different users to access content within your repo. So let me know if you have any other questions. Now, I just want to close. Sorry, Dave, go ahead. Is anybody saying anything?
Yeah, so
Sorry, I can't see the chat. So, okay. Okay. So, good exercise. So this is overall GitHub platform. We talked about it's a developer platform at the base. You can scale it with the help of github.com because it's non-cloud. It has layers of security. It has a productivity element, means you have a lot of different components like a workflow and all. You can use it and make your work. You can scale it at the same time. You can also produce more, and that's the philosophy here. You can automate things, and then you can do collaboration with the help of project and other mechanism. You can integrate Slack and other things, and then it is powered by AI. So 3 things, a quick recap. At the core, it is still a version control, source control management software. And we just talked about GitHub, and then getting login on github.com. So are you promising that if you go back home, will you be able to create a github.com access? Perfect. Anyone else? Oh, you have it. Okay, great. Yeah. Yeah. Other benefit is, which is the most exciting ones, you can create free website for yourself. So let's say you can go to GoDaddy or Wix. You pay them yearly subscription. But let's say you need a website for yourself, for your resume, for example. Go to github.com, search how to get your profile. You will be able to, for your repo, for per repository, you can create one website free without any charge. You can host it. You can have tons of content there. And then you can have n number of repos within your profile, which you can do that from content writer to anyone. Yeah. So that's, yes.
Is there a version of GitHub in the IL5 or IL6 environments?
IL5 and IL6.
Yeah. Dan?
So, sorry, I can only hear you. I don't know if I'm jumping on anybody.
Can you elaborate your question, Dan?
Classified environments.
Can you
So
repeat?
secret or top secret networks.
Sorry, I didn't get that part.
Yeah, he says, is the version GitHub in IL5 or IL6 environment?
So
Okay, yeah, that I don't know on top of my head. I can get that part for you.
okay.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Asma. Can you create? Where? So GitHub is a platform. You if you want to create some sort of ad banner and all, you need to use a different softwares or different tools. It's just a platform. Okay. So yeah, with this, I'm done. It is 100 million plus developers. They are still using it. You will get this slide. You can go to github.com. You'll see the similar orientation, what I've just presented. Yeah, and if you have any questions, we are not ending here, though we are finishing this session today, but discussion is still open.
Send as a thank you.
Yeah.
The attendees are, okay.
Yeah, we
So
can
I'll
do that.
So Aditya says, nice presentation, very useful.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
And we do have the code.
Yes.
I think it was in there.
Yeah. Give me a second. If you're still able to see my screen, I missed this part, Wendy. Sorry about that. So this is our beautiful team. Awesome, beautiful team. And then with the yeah. So this one.